Hey guys, Ivan here, and in today's video we got a couple of very interesting things to talk about. The first one is of course Hunter Labrada winning the Italy Pro. This isn't news, we all knew this basically a month ago, or like when Nexila pulled out, or yesterday when we saw the lineup. You know, it was pretty clear, it was pretty easy win, even though Hunter did not exactly bring what we all thought he was gonna bring. You know, he was a little bit overhyped during this prep for this show. We all kind of expected probably a little bit better conditioning, more hardness, and probably a better midsection, better looking midsection. But, all things considered, was this actually his best ever? Well, it's difficult to say because his conditioning probably could have been better, he could have been drier, and his midsection could have looked more aesthetic, but as far as muscularity, it seems like he did gain a lot of muscle actually in this past off-season. This is a comparison of him from last year's Mr. Olympia to now, and I think he definitely gained some muscle, especially in that back, but I would say overall, basically, everything looks bigger, thicker, rounder, so I think he did make progress. I think this was his best ever, but he still needs to nail it for the Mr. Olympia, because here, he didn't do that, he didn't quite nail it, but he definitely brought more size, maybe similar conditioning to what he brought to the Mr. Olympia. I think he was far more conditioned at the Tampa Pro last year, but as far as, you know, size and overall peak compared to the Mr. Olympia, I think he was better. I think he was bigger everywhere, back, legs, everything basically. He was just bigger. I don't know what his weight was here compared to the Mr. Olympia, but I'm sure he was bigger. Another thing that a lot of people mentioned in my previous video in the comment section was his chest. Apparently his chest was super flat, and everybody's pointing that out. And honestly, guys, I mean, yeah, sure, it could have been fuller, but that's definitely not the number one thing that I'm looking at as far as his weaknesses. And I would definitely point out rather to like his lower lats, if you talk about muscularity, and if you talk about a weak area, it would definitely be his midsection. It probably looked worse than ever this year. And I think that's the biggest thing, that's by far the biggest thing he needs to fix. It's not his chest, come on, like, yeah, sure, his chest could be bigger and fuller, and that packed hair is not helping either, but it's not the worst chest in the world, you know, it's not that flat. If he gets more conditioned, everywhere basically, not just the glutes and hamstrings and lower back, like everywhere, you know, the front part, everything. If he gets more conditioned, and he fills out nicely, and dries out, he peaks well, then I think his chest is going to look better as well. Now, we're judging him based on the photos and the live stream footage, but if you take a look at this video filmed by an iPhone, you can see that, like, he was actually pretty gnarly, like, pretty grainy. Like, he was in decent condition, decent peak. Like, sure, yeah, like, there is some fat, I would say. I don't think it's water. I think he nailed conditioning perfectly, the peak perfectly, but conditioning, like, body fat percent, it can go lower. You know, glutes could be more diced, hamstrings especially, everything, like from the front, arms, quads, chest even, like, he can definitely be leaner, but did he need to be 100% shredded for this show? No, absolutely not. He did what he needed to do to win, he won, so if he nails it for the Mr. Olympia, he can do well, you know, with his improvements. But like, how well, if you talk about top 5 at the Mr. Olympia, beating Nick Walker, you know, in my opinion, that's probably not happening. You know, I can see him 6th, but that's about it. Now, another very interesting question would be, would Nexila actually manage to beat Hunter if he showed up? Let's say if he was the way he was at Dubai Pro. If he improved, if he pushed for conditioning for those 5 weeks, and I don't know for what reason he didn't do that, but if he just pushed a little bit more, not for all 5 weeks, like if he took it easy for 3 weeks and then just pushed down for the last 2 weeks and went to Italy and competed, he would probably be a lot better conditioning-wise. Would that kind of, that edition of Nexila beat Hunter Labrada, this version of Hunter Labrada? Right off the bat, I'll say, I don't know. Like, I would have to make a special video, separate video on this topic and compare these guys pose by pose. But I think it would be a good battle. You know, Nexila doesn't have any midsection issues. He has structural flaws, like here in the most muscular. Hunter's structure is definitely better. He has better aesthetics, better shape, better symmetry, proportions. The midsection, however, is problematic. And Nexila also has a little bit of a hernia in his belly button, umbilical hernia. but I think his midsection is just better than Hunter's. But then again, look at the graininess and the details in Hunter's back and like basically everywhere in his physique. Like he was definitely in better condition, in more details, drier than Exila. But, you know, he has some flaws, and Exila has some advantages. So I don't know, right off the bat, I can't tell you. I think it will be close, it will be a battle. Unlike him versus Andrea Presti, I don't think that was really a battle. Even though Andrea brought it, really, you know, and Exila is definitely a different level. So I'm gonna make a special video about that, for sure. Now, as far as Hunter winning once again, deserved win. As far as Mr. Olympia, best case scenario in my eyes, top 6. Whatever you guys think, tell me down below. Alright, next up, we got a physique update from Derek Lunsford. Upper body physique update. For some reason, you can guess which one, he is not really showing us his legs at all. And he is showing us his upper body actually quite frequently. Now, as far as his upper body, conditioning is great. You know, for 5 weeks out, it's spot on. It's definitely good. Is it much better than it was like 2 weeks ago? I don't think so. Maybe he's slightly harder, but conditioning-wise, I think he's just maintaining at this point because he was a little bit ahead with conditioning at like 7 or 8 weeks out. So at this point, for him, it's all about like getting harder, maintaining the fullness, and at the end, getting like super conditioned. But you know, at this point, conditioning is very good, and we're not seeing his legs. However, we can see his legs here in this training video. It's not a posing video, but he's training. And like from this angle, you can see pretty good conditioning in that inner part of the thigh. The adductors, everything is just vascular at this point, so conditioning is good. But if you look at the quads, I don't see a lot of fullness there. And in my opinion, that was the biggest issue of Derek last year. You know, because of those quads, and he's losing those quads as he's getting leaner. So at this point, if his legs are looking like this right now, at 5 weeks out, and his conditioning is not exactly completely done yet, they're gonna get even flatter, right? So I don't think he made a lot of progress in the legs. Now, I know he wasn't really pushing for mass in this offseason. He stayed very lean the entire offseason, so I thought they were just trying to keep his midsection as tight as possible and just work on details. But was that the right plan? And I'm not sure. I can guess, and I guessed a couple of times so far. In my opinion, changes, but I will not know until I see him on stage and see how he does. But at this point, based on all I'm seeing, I don't think Derek is going to be much better this year. And I don't think he's going to win the Mr. Olympia again. I mean, yeah, he is amazing. He won last year, and here he does look awesome. Somehow he manages to find the best lighting possible. Nobody's as good as finding the perfect lighting like Derek. You guys know how devoted he is to that thing. You know, Nick Walker doesn't take photos and updates on lighting such as this one. No. Derek is a pro at this. So yeah, he is looking amazing here, but like I don't think he progressed that much. You know, I am seeing more details in the upper shoulder and like upper chest area, front shoulder and upper chest area. But I mean, is this a huge difference from last year overall? Like size-wise, detail-wise, leg progress-wise? I don't think so. Does he need to be bigger and better to win against new and improved Hadi from Arnold Classic? And new and improved Samson Dauda, and with Andrew Jack coming strong as well, and Nick Walker, who is hungry than ever, I don't know, man. I don't think he can win like this. I think he needs to be better. So at this point, at 5 weeks out, my prediction for Derek is 3rd spot at a Mr. Olympia. Most likely. You know, I definitely have Samson and Hadi both placing ahead of Derek at this point. I'll make an official prediction video at like 1 week out or maybe 2 weeks out, 10 days out or so. But, you know, as we go along, we can see what these guys are looking like. And at this point, from what I'm seeing, and I'm not seeing a lot, but from all the snippets, little training videos, little posing sessions and so on, yeah, Derek, I don't have him winning this year again. Whatever you guys think, tell me down below. Oh yeah, and for the end, we got something very interesting. It's basically sort of a comeback of Kai Greene. Not a competitive comeback, but he did a little guest posing. He was covered in paint, and he didn't really show us his physique, but you can see his size, and size-wise, he's basically as big as he ever was, really. And it's also very interesting that he did this show, guest posing at this show that is not an NPC or IFBB Pro League show. It's actually the other federation. It's called just IFBB, or IFBB Elite Pro, but this is just IFBB, so the amateur federation. And Kai Greene guest posed here, which was, weird because he competed in IFBB Pro League for a long time at MPC. He was loyal to them, and I guess he switched sides now, and the guys in the IFBB Pro League won't like this. So nobody really thought that he's gonna come back and compete in IFBB Pro League ever again. Even if he did, he definitely wouldn't do well because he's too old at this point. I don't know what his physique looks like under this paint, but he has the size. He is not in condition, but I can't see the muscle quality, and I'm pretty sure he wouldn't do well if he competed as a pro these days. But I know he was also very salty after finishing with the IFBB Pro League because he probably thought he was supposed to win some of those Mr. Olympias. So now he's in a rival federation. I don't know how the IFBB Pro League people are going to take this, but it is what it is. Once again, as far as like size, Kai actually still has it. Surprisingly, he's actually massive. Phil Heath is definitely not this big right now. He downsized, for health purposes, I guess, because he's done. His career is over. But Kai, I guess he loves being a bodybuilder still very much so, and he just doesn't want to let go of all the mass he has. People see him in the gym. People tell me that he is still very, very big, and you can see right here, he is a mass monster for sure. I don't know if he did a full prep, and got completely shredded. What would he look like? I don't see any like big muscle loss as far as body parts. Everything is big. Like arms are still, as big as they were pretty much. Back is huge. Legs are enormous. But I don't think he would have the quality or the symmetry or like the aesthetics and stuff like that. His waist is probably a little bit too big right now. So yeah, that's just thinking about what would happen if he competed, but he's not going to come back, that's for sure. And this is what he looks like right now, size-wise at least. And he's still a great poser, for sure. Whatever you guys think about whichever part of this video, comment down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. For more content like this, guys, stay tuned, subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon. All the best, and bye-bye.